Canada just made a move that could reshape North American trade forever, and it happened right under Trump's nose. While Washington was busy slapping tariffs on Canadian goods, something unprecedented was happening in Nova Scotia. The province that once hesitated to touch its natural resources just lifted decades-old drilling restrictions. Uranium exploration, natural gas fracking, critical minerals, all greenlit in a matter of months. This isn't just about economics anymore. This is Canada drawing a line in the sand. Here's why this matters. The trade war between Canada and the United States isn't some distant political theater. It's reshaping supply chains that affect everything from the car you drive to the phone in your hand. And Canada just signaled it's done playing by America's rules. Stick around, because what happens next could determine whether North America stays united or splits into competing economic blocs. For decades, Canada played the reliable neighbor. When the United States needed aluminum, steel, or energy, Canada supplied it. But Trump's tariffs changed everything. In 2025, the Trump administration imposed tariffs ranging from 10 to 100% on Canadian imports. Steel, aluminum, lumber, even furniture. The message from Washington was clear. Bend to our terms or pay the price. Nova Scotia's response was equally clear. The province announced sweeping reforms that shocked industry watchers. Bans on uranium exploration, gone. Moratoriums on natural gas fracking, lifted. Permit processes for mineral exploration, slashed. What was once a cautious province suddenly became ground zero for Canada's resource independence movement. This wasn't rash. It was calculated. As Trump tightened control over North American supply chains and China restricted rare earth exports, the world entered a scramble for critical minerals. Lithium, cobalt, nickel, the materials that power electric vehicles and modern technology. The turning point came in Basal Lake. A prospector had been waiting years to drill for lithium on private land. When negotiations collapsed, the provincial government invoked a rarely used law to force access to the drilling site. Critics called it overreach. Supporters called it leadership. But one thing was undeniable. Nova Scotia was willing to cross political lines to claim its share of the resource future. Here's where it gets interesting. Trump's tariffs were supposed to strengthen American industry. Instead, they pushed Canada into new partnerships. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government accelerated negotiations with Europe and Asia to diversify away from U.S. dependence. Nova Scotia's mineral push wasn't isolated. It was part of a nationwide movement to secure sovereignty over natural resources. Washington's attempt to dominate North American supply chains awakened a competitor right next door. The trade war created unexpected allies. In Quebec City, American governors from Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania spoke out against Trump's tariffs. They reminded everyone that more than 55 million jobs depend on the cross-border economy. These were Trump's own political allies, warning that his trade policies hurt their communities. The Great Lakes region operates as one integrated industrial corridor. Canada supplies roughly 90% of the primary aluminum imported by the United States. Steel from Hamilton becomes raw material for mills in Pennsylvania. When Washington taxes those imports at 25 to 50%, U.S. manufacturers pay more for materials they cannot source domestically. Mark Carney saw the opening. Before his meeting with Trump, he already had political cover from American governors who publicly stood with Canada. At the Council on Foreign Relations in New York, he delivered a direct challenge to Trump's economic vision. His message was simple. Canada has what the world needs: energy, minerals, technology, capital. Canada produces 85% of its energy from clean sources and ranks in the top 5 for reserves of 10 critical minerals. Then came the Indonesia deal. In late September, Canada and Indonesia signed a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. It was Canada's first ever free trade agreement with a member of ASEAN, and it happened precisely when the United States was expanding tariffs. Indonesia, with nearly 300 million people and a GDP of around $2 trillion, is projected to climb into the world's top 5 economies within decades. Once fully enforced in 2026, more than 95% of tariffs on Canadian exports will be eliminated. For the United States, the implications are serious. By standing outside these arrangements, America risks losing market share where Canada is now more competitive. Canada is tying itself into Indonesia's critical mineral sector, particularly nickel, central to the electric vehicle supply chain. Instead of pulling partners closer, Trump's tariff policy is pushing them away. This is the new reality. Trump's tariffs, once seen as a display of power, are now testing his own coalition. When American governors stand beside Canadian premiers to defend a shared economy, it signals a shift. Canada is no longer waiting for approval. From lithium mines to uranium fields, the country is building a resource firewall that could redefine its relationship with the United States. The North American trade conflict has moved underground, literally. And as drills pierce the bedrock of Nova Scotia, they're uncovering not just minerals, but a deeper shift in the balance of power across the continent. What started as Trump's tariff gamble may end as Canada's declaration of economic independence. If you found this valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more coverage on the trade war reshaping North America. Drop a comment below.